what's up guys, Margarita here. Inside the studio, I've put together a little morning yoga sequence to help out anyone who's looking to enhance their balance as well as kind of decrease any sciatic symptoms that they may have. It's a shorty but goodie. It's under 15 minutes, so feel free to join me. Grab a mat. On this video, you will also need a blanket. So get your stuff, tell everyone in your family this is you time, and let's get to it. Hey, good morning. Thanks for meeting me on the mat. I hope you are ready. You got your mat out. I'm sitting on a blanket. You could use a blanket or a pillow. What this does is it just lifts you up a little bit so you can actually kind of let your knees fall out kind of in front of you. Gives you just a little more room in the hips. All right, so let's find ourselves on the blanket. And first what we're going to do is kind of root down or just land here. And this is mainly so that you can connect with your body, forget about everything else, and just be here. Why this is important, you ask? It's important so you know what's happening in here, so you don't overstretch, you don't overwork. You can find your edges inside your body and then move from that place. It's just a lot safer. So here we are, perhaps closing your eyes if that's an option for you, lowering the shoulders away from the ears, and just begin to arrive. Noticing the inhales and the exhales as they show up. Maybe it's easy to breathe today, or maybe it's hard, but I invite you just to notice the breath. And I invite you to let the breath flow. Perhaps inhaling fully and then exhaling fully. Not forcing yourself to breathe, but allowing yourself space to really inhale and to really exhale. With each breath, just letting it out. Breathing in today the newness of this day. And then from here, let's just do some shoulder rolls. Inhaling, bringing the shoulders up. Exhale, spiraling them back. Just moving around the shoulders just a little bit here. And let's take that in the opposite direction. Kind of coming forward and bringing it back down. Let's bring that to a close. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Let's interlace the fingertips, press the arms up, root the sit bones down. See how long you can make the spine. And then on the next exhale, let's float the right hand down, reach over with the left. Doesn't really matter which arm you bring down. We're going to do both sides anyways. And then from here, let's take that left arm and kind of begin to float it forward. And think about reaching out at a slight angle and this allowing it to fall wherever it needs to land. You're going to notice this length starts to open up this low back area a little bit. Might get into the hip flexor slightly because we're pressing that left knee down. And I invite you, just like all practices, as we bebop through our morning practice today, notice your body. Notice what it's doing, where it's at, finding your edges. Don't compare yourself to me, or if you have a partner or friend, a child who's joining you today, see if you can forget, where they are so you can just be here. And then from here, let's walk the hands through center. Stay here for just a breath or two. And then let's walk the hands back in. Here we are again. Inhale, bringing the arms up. Exhale, this time bring the left arm down, reach over with the right. Think about really finding length here. Length, 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 reach it over. And on the exhale, just like we did to the other side, begin to bring that right arm down, reaching it over to the left. And just land wherever your edge is. So you might be super close to the ground, you might be kind of far away. I invite you to just be here without judgment. Perhaps too, if you struggle with kind of, self-hatred, changing that narrative to when you land in something to like, oh, my body feels so good, or look what my body can do, instead of focusing on, the things we can't do. And then from here, let's walk the hands back through center. I'll give you a few options here too. So if you want to open up the shoulders a little bit, feel free to really round the back, tip the head in. And then if you want to kind of get into the low back a little bit, think about hollowing out the back. And then from here, walking the hands back in. Let's actually help the knees up. Helping the knees up, bringing the feet in front of you. And then from here, let's bring our hands behind us. So fingertips towards our glutes. And all we're going to do is rock our knees back and forth. So rock a knee, bring it down, and then rock the other knee down. If you can't bring the knee all the way down to the ground, it doesn't even matter. Just think about going as far as you can and then shifting. And then from here, let's keep the knees on the right. So they're pointed to the right. I'm going to take that right arm, bring it back a little more, and then reach up with that left arm. And imagine reaching the left arm behind you and then pressing that left knee down into the earth. If you want a little more, you can heel toe that foot behind you. It's going to start to open up the hip flexors just a little. And notice what's happening in the pelvis. If you're really crunching into the lower lumbar, see if you can tuck the tailbone under here. And we'll just stay here for a few breaths. Coming back to just the inhales and the exhales. Really allowing yourself to fill up here with oxygen. And then slowly unraveling, bringing that left arm down. And then spiraling over to the other side. Bringing both knees towards the left. Planting that left hand down. Inhale, sweeping the right arm, reach it over, and just land here. And then maybe just like last time, if you want a little more, kind of heel toe that right leg back. And then slowly coming out of that, bringing that leg in. And let's just bring the feet together for a second. Think about allowing the knees just to flop out. And we're going to just fold over slightly. We don't have to go super close to the feet. I mean, if you want to, feel free. This is your jam. And then let's slowly come on up. Once again, helping the knees come in. And this time, let's take the right leg, cross it over the left, and actually add a bend to this left leg. I'm going to turn sideways a little, just so you can kind of check it out. So from here, bring your arms behind you, and where the magic happens is think about sitting up into it, and then maybe pointing that toe. Really rooting the sits bones here. It's just a nice seated figure 4 stretch. And perhaps you stay here, or maybe you kind of move around a little bit and begin to bring that leg kind of out to the side. Notice where that stretch moves to. And then let's just switch. Bring that right leg down, cross the left over, maybe readjust the arms. If you need to, too, let's say it's too much on your arms, feel free to shake it out for a moment. Take a breath. And then let's jump right back in. So left leg crossed over the right this time, and then just kind of sit into it. Maybe pointing the right toe this time. Think about really rooting the sit bones and finding a lot of length in the spine. And just like we did last time, feel free to find the stretch. Maybe that means you bring your left leg a little more towards the center. And then let's come out of that. Go ahead and just release the legs. Go ahead and kind of split the feet apart. And then from here, really lengthen the spine and then just begin to fall forward. Maybe bringing the hands to the earth, giving yourself somewhere to land. And then slowly coming back up. Let's actually flip on over. Once again, we'll use this blanket. It'll be helpful, especially for our knees. So we're just going to come into tabletop or hands and knees. Bringing the knees to the blanket. Hands come under the kind of the shoulders, if you will. And think about finding a neutral spine. You're like, Margarita, what the heck is a neutral spine? I got you. Okay, so think about all the shapes the spine can make, right? We can round kind of into cat. Or we can hollow out into cow. And depending on the flexibility of your spine, it might be less or more dramatic. But in this case, we're going to come to neutral spine. So that's a little bit of a tailbone tuck. Think neutral, like kind of natural. So we're not forcing our spine into any kind of drastic shape here. And we're working on a little bit of balance. So let's find that balance. So from here, all we're going to do is lengthen, let's say the right leg, reach it all the way out, and then we're just going to lift, trying to keep that neutral spine. So what happens a lot of times, people want to lift this leg so much they arch into that low back. Think about just lifting enough so that your glutes engage, but your back stays flat. Here comes that balance challenge. You're going to draw the belly button in, and if it's too much, you can always lower the leg. And you're just going to start to lift your left hand. Even maybe at first, it's just a few fingertips. And I know if you're doing this in the morning, you're like, Margarita, this is a lot. Just a few fingertips, or maybe you reach the left arm out. So my right leg's back and my left arm is out. And we have this whole degree kind of towards the floor or to the ceiling. And just hold here. Few breaths. You're going to notice things start to heat up. And then exhale, bringing that right down. Taking a moment here, kind of rocking your hips side to side. Now we'll begin to just dive into the other side. Same kind of thing here. So find tabletop, find that neutral spine. And then this time, let's just lengthen the left leg. And remember, every day is different. So maybe you did this yesterday and you were like, oh, I totally got this. And today's a little different. All right, so left leg's out. And then your right arm is going to start peeling off. Few fingertips, maybe all the way out. And just let things start to warm up here. Fire off. And if you feel like you're going to fall over, just put your arm down. We get better and better over time. And then slowly let's come out of that. Rocking the hips side to side. All right, so we have the first option here. Just staying in tabletop lifting. We're going to go right back to it. Lengthen the right leg and the left arm. Finding that neutral spine, and then maybe lifting. Just stay here if you want, or I'm going to add 5 pulses to this. Lower and lift. Name of the game here is all about balance. I don't care how high you go. I don't care how many you do. Think about finding, discovering, exploring balance. Keeping that back neutral. Last one, hold it up. Let everything start to heat up. And then exhale, letting it go. Let's take a moment, round the back, sit it back into child's pose. So think about here in child's pose, maybe your glutes touch your heels, maybe they don't, it's not a big deal. Stretching your back, stretching your glutes, and then let's come on back. We have the other side to do. We got to do it, right? We got to finish strong. We're going into our day. All right, so let's lengthen that other leg. So I'm pretty sure it's the left leg. And begin to just lift, and then begin to just lift the right arm. Notice the balance, and maybe this is where you're at today, right? Maybe just holding balance is where it's at. If you want to add the reps, feel free. Lift, stay neutral. Exhale to lower. Lifting and lower. Really drawing the belly button in. Think about supporting yourself by engagement in the muscles. 3 more. All right, here comes that last one. You bet we're going to hold it. Hold it up here. Find the balance. Remember, even if you're down here, you're still winning, right? You showed up to the mat. Even if you are just watching me, tomorrow you'll do some, right? If you can't today. A few more breaths. And then bring it all the way down. Exhale, sit it back in child's pose once again. Getting a nice stretch in here in this variation of child's pose. Arms are long, but know that if you want to, you can also wrap your arms around you. For a true child's pose, you can connect your forehead with the ground if you'd like. If you're on a blanket, notice kind of your center of gravity changes a little bit here. And then from here, let's come on up. Let's actually get rid of the blanket or just put it to the side. We're gonna get to roll right onto our bellies. I promise you, we are so close to being done. You can get on your day. So this is all about your back. So from here, right, first just find a nice straight spine. So your shoulders need to be in alignment with your pelvis. And then from here, we're gonna come up. We're just looking for a back extension. So notice where your lower lumbar is in comparison to your pelvis. Think about tucking your tailbone under. So thinking about taking the front of your pelvis and really pressing it into the earth. And then maybe you come up into Sphinx. So this is Sphinx here. But think about tucking that tailbone under to find a long spine instead of crunching in to the lower lumbar. Taking the gaze kind of forward, if you will, so you're not looking super far up and you're not really looking at your hands. Somewhere slightly out, maybe let's say 2.5, 3 feet into the room. And then let's exhale, come all the way down. Let's go ahead and flip it right on over to your back. So we did seated pigeon or seated figure four. Now we're going to do supine, which is just a fancy word for lying down. So same kind of thing. Let's say right leg crosses over the left. And first just notice what it feels like in the back of that right hamstring, glute. We can stay right here if you want a little more. First, press the low back into the earth and then lift the leg. You can take your hands, weave the right one through, wrap the left one around, and just pull it in. Another option too here is, let's say you feel really bound here. You can just take the right leg and you can actually just pull the right leg in. But as you pull in, you might notice your glutes come off the earth. Think about pressing the low back down. That's kind of where the magic happens. You always want to be rooted down to find length. And then exhale, switching, and then we're just going to go to the other side. Take left leg, bring it over the right. Same options here. Maybe you pull it through, if that really suits you, or maybe you just reach around for the outside of that left leg and you pull that in. Remember, root the low back down. go ahead and unravel here. We're going to finish off with 2 nice gentle twists. Being mindful if there's any pain around the hips, you can use a blanket here if you want. We're just going to bring our knees to one side, kind of roll on over to the fetal position. And then from here, we're just going to open our arms out like a great big T. The higher your knees are, the more intense this is. The lower your knees are, the less intense this is. So really pick your poison here. What feels good for you? Maybe you stay here and you just enjoy the twist, or maybe you take that top leg and you just kick it out. And you kind of know when something's too much because you're paying attention to your body, right? Yes. So if you lengthen your leg and you're like, you know what, this is too much, I can feel super pull on the outside of that hip, just add a bend back in. And then slowly, one knee at a time, come back to center. And then we're just going to go to the other side. So roll on over to the fetal position. Make sure everything's in alignment, and then open the arms up once again. And then perhaps staying here, or maybe lengthening the top leg out. And then slowly adding a bend back to that top leg. One knee at a time, coming back through center. And then, of course, bringing the knees into the chest, pressing the low back down. As I've been saying, it's really all about the rooting to find length. So think about rooting the back first, and then bringing the legs in. You can grab behind the hamstrings if you want. You can grab onto the shins. But think about no matter where you grab, press the low back down. I like to think about kind of uncurling my spine, right? So my tailbone comes up like this, right? It's pelvis, lower lumbar. Imagine if you could press all that down into the earth. It's not going to happen. If it does happen, we got some huge problems. But press all that down and just feel that connection. If you want, you can rock side to side. And then let's slowly come on up, bringing the feet back down, flipping on over, coming back up to a seated position. And you've done it! Congratulations! Yay! Way to start off your morning. Super strong, ready to go. I'm super proud of you. Stick with it. Let me know if you got any comments. High fives all around. Bye.